Well, good Saturday morning, everyone, and greetings once again from Radio Wasteland Records here in Midland. I hope your Saturday is off to a great start. Here at the store, not as cold in mid-Michigan today, which is cool, I guess. I'm used to it. Got the heavy flannel on, so we're all right here. But it got down there a little bit earlier in the week, didn't it? But now we're kind of back up to normal gray winter, low 20s, mid 20s type of thing. And not too bad, I guess, all things considered. No snow in the forecast for another few days at least. But again, it's Michigan. So I hope you're enjoying yourself so far and that you made it through the cold snap without too many issues. Little joint aches in the knees for me, at least on this side, but not too bad whatsoever. So not a whole lot going on at the store this week either. The shipments seem to be kind of sort of getting back up to normal. So we're getting our stuff in per the way it goes. The podcast with Steve Carlson is still rolling right along. And I've got that new release show coming up a little bit later on this afternoon as well. So you can kind of keep up to date with everything that is going on here at the store. So I guess I'll take this opportunity to say, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, comment, do all the things that YouTube likes you to do to keep the channel going the way that, we like it to be going. So let's say a few quick good mornings this morning and see who's out there and wasting their Saturday morning with us. Always appreciate it. I'm kidding. Betty from Toledo saying good morning to you as well. Jennifer, good morning. And a little snowflake. Yeah, we got those going on here, I suppose, a little bit. Dan, happy Saturday to you as well as good morning, Chuck. And Pat asking if it's spring yet. You know what? I gauge this. It's kind of like that ancient Aztec clocks or whatever where you look at, but I've been doing this now for 8 years. And so I get used to when the days are getting shorter because when we leave at 6 o'clock on a weekday, I can see that sunset creeping up a little bit. So I think we're on the plus side of that, Pat. Not yet on spring, but we're getting there. Gerald, good morning. Good morning to you as well as Mike. Hey, Mike, thank you. We'll get a shipment out your way as well. So very cool, guys. Thank you for being here this morning. And like I said, not a whole heck of a lot of stuff going on. We're still obviously creeping ever toward the Record Store Day event in April to the point that, and I don't have a graphic for this, I'm sorry to say, but the Record Store Day organization has announced this year's Record Store Day ambassador, and that is Post Malone. So I didn't make a post on that. No pun intended, I guess. But that's cool. We'll get something out there on there, and we'll look forward to all the swag that we get. Now, here's just the thing. If somebody with the Record Store Day, if you're watching this, guys, I think a cool thing to add into that swag packs that you send to stores for us to give away, there needs to be some temporary face tattoos to go along with the ambassador. Now, it's a missed opportunity, if you ask me, if they don't put out something along those lines. And no, I'm not going to go get face tattoos just to celebrate this Record Store Day also. But I'm just saying, I've got a degree in this stuff. I used to do marketing and things like that. I think that would be a good thing to do. Tat yourself up, and we'll go from there. But yes, again, congratulations, Post Malone. And Kim was saying too, a great crossover artist, going from kind of approaching a couple of different genres and gaining some popularity in both of those. So I see the other comment on there. I didn't make a post, and I didn't make a Malone either, but you got the idea. Thank you. Okay, onward to a few of the goodies coming in, and I'm going to hold true. I've got an interesting factoid, if you will, on a couple of the collectibles that went out in the drop video yesterday. But let's hit the new releases first. I've still got a few things left on this. We went through a few yesterday, but we still have some cool things. First up, brand new album from Eric Clapton hit yesterday. Now, I'm going to use the air quotes album on this one because it's new stuff, but only 6 songs. So according to the hype sticker on this, Eric Clapton's brand new album with 6 new songs. And those are collaborations with the late Jeff Beck. So obviously that's been in the can for some time. Van Morrison and more. Who else is on here? Bradley Walker, a couple with Van Morrison, Judith Hill, Daniel Santiago, and then the 2 with Van Morrison. So 14 cuts in all. It is a double LP. And the other stuff, I think I'd read that these were like singles that had been previously released, but It is a new de facto Clapton album. I got one copy of this left in stock. If you've given it, it's called Meanwhile, by the way. Give that a listen online if you're interested. We do have that one copy in. Okay, I think I mentioned this on the new release show last week. I had no clue. I had no clue whatsoever that Matt Berry was also a musician. He's like 5 or 6 albums deep. Matt Berry, of course, if you have watched the vampire comedy, What We Do in the Shadows, the TV version, not the film version. And I'm not too up on it. I think he was in some, it was the IT Crowd in Britain or something along those lines. But Matt Berry, accomplished musician. This is on the Acid Jazz label. And this one, I guess, I listened to a couple online. It's being described as kind of a throwback to West Coast pop psychedelic music from the 60s. But some of his other stuff has kind of teetered on the edge of almost experimental jazz and noise, a little bit of everything. But regardless, it is interesting. I'll give it that much. So we've got 2 copies of this. This is called Matt Berry Heard Noises, and the versions that we have are on Maelstrom blue colored vinyl. And this also features, let's see, Natasha Lyonne, Kitty Liv, and Eric D. Johnson. Cool stuff if you are into the Matt Berry, which again, I had no clue that he was an artist. Hold on, let me get a thumbnail. That's what we're supposed to do for thumbnails, right? 2 copies of that on the shelf. Steven Wilson remix. This is part of the Start Your Ear Off Right campaign. He has put his touch on Yes's classic album, Fragile, or Fragile, however you want to mention that. This one is on limited edition green vinyl, and they've tweaked the cover a little bit. So very cool stuff if you're a fan of the Wilson touch coming into the remixes on this and part of the Start Your Ear Off Right stuff. Big week. This, not too much. I think this one and maybe one other one was this week, but big week next week to wrap up the end of the month with the Start Your Ear Off Right. There is a lot of Rush albums, a couple of Stax, various albums. Again, I'll throw you to our new release show a little bit later this afternoon so you can keep up with what is going out next week. But yeah, some later Rush albums, 4 of them coming out. Start Your Ear Off Right, by the way. In addition to a bunch of the ZZ Top, I got restocks on all of the ZZ Top audio files. We did get one more copy of the Grateful Dead's Skull and Bones, the self-titled. This one on translucent yellow vinyl. So one copy of that left on the shelf for the duration of the weekend, and I think I can get some more of those. Elsewhere, we got, actually, this is my last one. This has been kind of the surprise. I've sold about 4 or 5 of these. This is the reissue of Great White's Hooked album. I forget when this was originally released, 1991. And folks that are picking it up are saying that they're happy that this has got the uncensored cover. I guess the censored cover was something along those lines. This is on sea blue vinyl. One copy of that left. I don't know if I can get more if needed, but we'll check it out and see. Also, finally, outside of the autographed copies, we did get a couple more of the Mark Farner Closer to My Home album. I got one left in stock now. This is the new one from Farner that is done with Mark Slaughter. He co-produced that as well, and it's got a lot of new stuff and a cover of I'm Your Captain Closer to Home on here as well. And if you didn't get a chance, I talked with Mark about this a couple of months back. Just look backwards on our YouTube channel or do a search for Radio Wasteland Mark Farner. You can see his interview where he talks a lot about this album and a bunch of other cool stuff because Mark's kind of a very, very interesting guy. Okay, one other quick one of note. This was an order for our buddy Ryan, and I got one extra copy. This is the Nelson Riddle, the Nelson Riddle soundtrack to the 60s Batman and Robin, the TV show. So the cool stuff on there. The originals of those are fun too if you find them, but I've only ever seen them beat to hell. So it's good that we've got some of those the reissues back in. Couple more quick chats here. Let's see. Budman had to make that joke. Yep. And Chance. Hey, Chance. Aloha to you. Aloha. Sunny. Feeling warm and sunny. Good to see you here, Chance. Thank you very much for stopping in today. Okay, quick note before I wrap up today, as I'm trying to do with the live updates, is give you guys a little more insight, factoids, if you will, on stuff that came out in the vintage vinyl drop. And I think I mentioned that during our week off, I made some time to really dig back into the bowels of the store, if you will, the deep back room, to start digging through some of the stuff that I've been sitting on and trying to get to because we get some other stuff coming in. And I have found some very cool psychedelic and experimental rock. And this one is out there as well. I'm going to have to call my notes up, but I put out 3 albums yesterday from a gentleman named Peter Ivers. And there's a Peter Ivers and the Peter Ivers Band, a couple of different ones. And while I thought I'd heard of him before, couldn't quite place it. But Peter Ivers, born in 46, died in 83, singer, songwriter, and television personality. So that was what was kind of cool on this. And this is where I did remember. He was the host of the experimental music television show called New Wave Theater. Now, originally that was broadcast locally on UHF in the Los Angeles area, but it was eventually picked up by the USA Network as part of their late night show, The Night Flights. You guys remember that in the early 80s, the Night Flight stuff. And let's see, the Wikipedia entry on Ivers says that he never achieved in his life, he died in 83, a mainstream success with his albums, either solo or with his groups. But because of his television work and his other producing work as well, he was connected by a second degree rather, to probably every major pop culture event for the past 30 years. He had opened up for the likes of the New York Dolls, the early Fleetwood Mac, and John Cale. And I didn't realize this as well, but he also scored the late, now David Lynch as well, the David Lynch film Eraserhead. So he wrote the score to Eraserhead. Very cool stuff. But yeah, we do have a Peter Ivers. This one's just moderately priced, but his Peter Ivers Band, his earlier stuff, from 74, and I forget what this other one came through. These price out a little bit higher. This is Night of the Blue Communion, Peter Ivers Band. And then this one is Terminal Love? Terminal Love by the Peter Ivers Band. Those come in a little bit pricier. They're kind of cool stuff. Listed as pop, experimental, psych rock, a little bit of everything on there. But yeah, Peter Ivers Band, I didn't know a heck of a lot about that, but I thought it sounded familiar until I got to that Night Flight stuff. And then, yeah, that was very, very cool to see and to have in as well. Okay, let's see. A couple of other chats kicking in here. Let's see. Blade is here. Ryan, good morning to Doogies and Gary of all of that. Loving the heat wave. James missed the drop yesterday. Yep, old guy collection. Yep, I'm feeling it too. I'll tell you what. And Pat, off topic, the Fleetwood Mac album that you picked up was a wonderful pressing if you like the Bob Welch era. Very cool. Good to hear there, Pat, as well. All right, folks, I'm up on time. I think that will about do it. Don't forget the new release show coming up a little bit later this afternoon. Lots of start your ear off right stuff, including some Rush albums, the later Rush albums. I'll tell you all about those this afternoon on that show. Don't forget the podcast, also, Two Guys Talking About Records with our good friend Steve Carlson on Sunday evenings. That goes up. This week's topic is punk for beginners. This is going to be a fun one. Steve's a big punk fan. I am a moderate. I've got some stuff, but I'm very particular with my punk rock. But we're going to show some of ours off and give some advice for those of you looking to explore that genre a little bit further. Should be a fun one. But that's Two Guys Talking About Records coming up on Sunday evenings about 7 o'clock. On that note, I think we're going to wrap things up for the day here at the store. Well, not here. The live, we're going to wrap up. The store, I'll be here all day. 716 George Street, just north of downtown Midland. You can't miss us. The lava lamps are all going this morning. I'll get the turntable spinning. And I'll be here until 6 p.m. tonight. And then tomorrow, Sunday, we'll be here from 12 noon until 4 p.m. No more Lions to watch. Sorry about that, guys. But we'll carry on from there. So until next week, or until later today with the new release show and tomorrow with the podcast. But we'll talk to you guys live next Saturday from here at Radio Wasteland Records. As always, thanks so much for being here. We will talk to you guys next time.